Today, it's all about substrates. Now our substrate does a lot of things for our tanks, but there's primarily two functions that we worry about as aquarists. The first one is that it stabilizes our nitrogen cycle. Our substrate provides a place for bacteria to grow, for water to flow through, so that they can process the waste that we already spoke about in a previous video. The second thing that our substrate does is it provides nutrients to our plants and gives their roots a place to really spread out and grab onto and really stabilize themselves in our aquariums. Now, keeping those things in mind, there's also two types of substrates that we use in our aquariums. That's active substrates and inert substrates. Now, our inert substrates are those substrates that are guaranteed to not change our water parameters. That's things like sand, your plain gravels, your river stone. These are all guaranteed to leave your water exactly as it is when you put it in the tank. Then we have our active substrates. These are things like your aquasoils or any other substrate that has some type of additive to it. These, over time, these will affect your water parameters, but they have all the available nutrients that plants need to grow. So as long as you know what you're doing, it's not a bad thing. So what are the pros and cons of both, and why would I choose one over the other? Well, with our inert substrates, yeah, they're good for nitrifying bacteria, they're good for stabilizing our ecosystem, but they don't have any nutrients in them for our plants to grow healthy root systems. So if you're going to use an inert substrate in a planted tank, it's going to limit you severely to the amount of plants that you can keep over time. Now, you can still do things like anubias and java fern, anything with a rhizome that doesn't need to be planted directly into the substrate. But if you wanted to do any of the more demanding plants, you would need to employ something like root tabs. Root tabs are these little tablets that you would put in your substrate, and over time they release the nutrients that the plants need to grow. Now, this can be done, but it would get expensive over time. And really, it's a lot cheaper if you just plan right from the start. Our next step up is what I like to call plant gravels. These are things like your Eco-Complete and your seachem flourite, and they're made of crushed lava rock, so they contain a lot of iron and a few other trace elements that plants need to grow. So they afford you a little bit of a wider range of plants to use than if you were just going with plain gravel. But again, if you were going to go with some more demanding plants like rhotallas or ledwigias, you would have to use root tabs with these substrates. Many of these plant gravels also come with bacterial additives to them, which help you get your cycle started. So that's a plus too. Now, with aquasoils, the good definitely outweighs the bad, but they're marketed towards more advanced aquarists, and in my opinion, as long as you know what to look out for, anyone can benefit from their use. Now, aquasoils are made primarily of compacted volcanic ash, which means they contain all the nutrients that plants would need to grow. It's the same reason you get a lot of new growth in a forest after there's a big fire. Plants love ash. Now, the downside to this is that they release those chemicals into the water column, which over time will lower your pH. Now, plants primarily love a lower pH, so this is good for them, but you want to be careful when changing water parameters drastically if you have any fish in the tank. Now, the other downside of this is that when you first add aquasoil to a tank, they usually leach ammonia into the water column for a period of time, anywhere from a week to a month. This is good for getting your nitrogen cycle started, but not good if you have fish in the tank. So aquasoils can afford you a variety of plants. You can grow pretty much any plant with aquasoil, but you'll have to wait anywhere a week to a month before you can add fish to this tank. And if you already don't have a cycle in your tank, you can't add fish anyway. So really, it's not that big of a downside. Now, if that turns you off to aquasoils, I recommend going the middle ground. That's your seachem flourite, your Eco-Complete, and in the future, if you wanted to do some higher level plants, you could add root tabs to that and it would work just fine. So let us know in the comments what type of substrate you would go with, and give us a like and a subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.